Now let's go with the other decklist, which is invoked Dogma DP from Johannes BA, and he's one of the 100% team. And thanks for coming today for showing us your deck profile. And now, before starting with the deck profile, let's shout out to our sponsor, which are GRAAD, pt.2, SCROLLANDLOCK Gaming, and EXTIMATE-CARDS. Remember to follow them on their social medias.
And now, shouts out to our sponsor, the first one being GRAAD, the best grading company in Europe, which offers grading services in all languages and all OCG, TCG version of the card you might have or need, which is launching a brand new campaign that you will totally love. This is basically a new cover that fits perfectly the card without the need of a sleeve in order to see the beauty of your cards and to have an endless protection. Check them out. The second one is SCROLLANDLOCK Gaming, which is a safe place to every YGO lover and player. Basically in there they offer tournaments for money and not for money, just for entertainment, in every format you might want, need or desire. That's a great opportunity to improve as a player and also to make friends in the best community for YGO players ever made. And last but not least, we have Playmat per Tutti. They produce amazing custom playmats where you can send your own drawing or images, making it on your own and making the playmat your playmat. I've played with them. They are really amazing because they offer best quality for their products, and you definitely got to try playing with them. All our sponsors' link are going to be in the description down below, so don't forget to go check them out.
So, hello, my name is Johannes BA, or many people know me as Richard Freitag on DB, free Alistair, free Meltdown, 1 terraforming, which many people do, but the 2 invocation. I was thinking about playing 1 invocation, but 1 invocation only really works if you only play against combo decks which use cards like Droplet and Dark Ruler, so I think the 2 is just more consistent.
Indeed.
And then go over the next engine. For the Dogmaticas, I went with 3 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur de Lis, 1 Maximus, 1 Punishment, and the Shadow Schism, which works with it, and the 3 Nadir. So, the 3 Ecclesia, I have been trying out 2 for a while as well, and if I were to want to have another flex spot, I would probably either cut this card to 2 or cut 1 invocation. But 3 is just fine if you have nothing much better to put, and it's good to open with Alistair, but alone is just not that good of a card in my opinion. Then I have the Fleur de Lis, which is an ancient requirement, so I played at 1, and the Maximus and the Schism. So Maximus and Schism you kinda have to play if you want your Nadir Servant alone to do a lot. But it's usually one of the cards you side out going second, but I will go over the siding patterns later, which card I often just sided out. Then for the TVE stuff, I've played 3 Fusion Destiny and the 2 Bricks Dasher and Celestial ones. Pretty usual. Fusion Destiny is a very good card to draw, I always want to see it. And then 3 Prosperity. Prosperity is essential to play in this deck. It makes you play a bit into draw, but it always can often dig you a card that lets you also play through the draw by just grabbing the Fusion Destiny directly, for example, or a Floodgate that you sided in. And then we have the 12 flex spots that were free. I chose to play 3 Ash, 3 Nip, 3 Droplet, 3 Imperm. I thought about manning Gamma over something like Droplet, but Droplet, if you aren't playing against only specifically Lyrilusk, where you have to discard like 3 or more cards for the Droplet to do anything, I think it's still a very good card versus every other deck, and even in this strategy in the matchup, the Poker Trio can still net you a lot of advantage or OTKs. The Imperm, I want to talk about how Imperm is often a lot better than just having Veiler, because Imperm can, if the Lyrilusk opponent goes for Warbler, Cobalt, you can keep the Imperm for the kit and they can't negate it with Utopia like they can negate Veiler. And then Aydhiny, because they are just pretty solid hand trips, but I usually just want to see impermanence the most, since I think it's one of the best hand trips this format. Then we have the Mystic Mine, the one of Mystic Mine, which came up very good for me this tournament, since I think it's a very good card to have in the mirror and against Lurilusk. Especially with the terraforming, you can go pot for 6 and you have a lot of good chances to hit it when you're going second. So I think it's just a very useful card in those matchups, and with the poker trio you can often just OTK the opponent and you have Meltdown to stop locking yourself. And I also think that it's not even that bad of a card to open going first, the Mystic Mine, because the invoked opponent is not that good at OTKing you most of the time if you're in a mirror, for example. So you can drop it turn 3 and it's not that bad.
Yeah, also, in the worst cases, you can just also discard of Mechaba to negate, or depends on the many situation you may find yourself in.
But it won me 3 games this tournament, I really liked it, and I also just want to say that I don't think that maining a single Duster or a single Cosmic to out the opponent's Mystic Mine is very worth, since it's unrealistic to see the mine out before I just die to the opponent's Hayate or Poker Trio. It's like a game of chance by playing a bad card in the main. So I don't like it a lot. Then I want to talk about which cards are usually sided out going second. Going second I sided out the Invocation, the Maximus, to Ecclesia, Schism, and then sometimes a Magical Meltdown or the Punishment. Like, I want to keep the Punishment against Sword Soul and to keep more starters against for example, Lurilusk. So I side out the Punishment there. Then I want to move over to the side deck.
Okay.
To the side deck, so I played 3 draws since you need it for the Lurilusk matchup. But I don't like it as much in the mirror, but since I chose not to play TT Crow, I still have to side it. Since I think the most important thing in the mirror is just Enforcer and how he puts the other player on a 3-turn clock to instantly out him, or they just lose. So I think the draw isn't that good right now, since like the Nadir and the Dogmatica stuff isn't that threatening in a mirror scenario. But you just have to play it for the Lurilusk matchup, I think, since I expected it a lot. Then I have Gamma. Like, I at first wanted to not play Gamma and play DD Crow over it and play 3 Cosmic, a 3rd Cosmic instead. But Gamma is just a very high impact hand trap, and I was convinced during the last day before I submitted my list, and it came good twice, so I think it was worth. Now the 3 token collector. I expected Sword Soul, but I only played 1 Sword Soul, and looking back, I would probably at least cut 1 token collector for a 3rd Cosmic, since my siding patterns were very bad at some point. So since I wanted to side out the Nibiru's against Striker, but I have 3 Nibiru's and 2 Cosmics, so it didn't really work out well. So the token collector, it didn't come up very good, but I think you have to play at least 2, because like Sword Soul is a very annoying matchup, especially with the Protoss, since Protoss is very hard to out if he calls Dark or Light, since he either locked out of Enforcer or all good invoked fusions and Dogmaticas. And that there can be only 1 last. Was the going first card I sided, since I think you only need to side 1 going first card at most. And here I decided to play there can be only 1 for the Sword Soul, the Flanderies, and the Lurilusk. But it also just happened to not come up very good in the matches themselves, but I still think it's a very good card. But you could also consider playing other floodgates like Summon Limit, or maybe just play another hand trap, so like DD Crows, you can balance out the side outs better. This is something like Striker, where like DD Crow is an amazing card.
Yeah, let's
Now
go to the
extra
extra deck,
Oh.
yeah.
extra deck. Enforcer, pretty obvious. Now the 3 shot dolls, Upclone, Construct, Winter. You need to play Upclone and Winter, of course, but the other one, it could be like a Winter or something, another one, since you need 2 Shadows besides Upclone to do the Maximus play, where you Nadir, send Upclone, and then Upclone build a Schism, so you add back later with the Maximus effect, sending something like Construct. But I decided to play the Construct over the second Winter, since I think that having the niche to out like an Utopic Future Draco or a Nibiru token can come quite useful. Then the Elder Entity and Tis, just for the versatility to pop with Nadir or Maximus, or second pop with Punishment. The Invoked Fusions, I played 5. Our Guidance, 2 Mechaba, Poker Trio, Raijin. Our Guidance is essential in an OTK push on a later turn. 2 Mechaba. The second Mechaba is usually a banish from the Prosperity, but it came up once to have the second Mechaba in my extra deck, but I don't think it's very needed if you want to play something over it. But it just seemed as the best choice. Then Poker Trio and Raijin. Raijin came up very nice in the tournament, twice. It was very surprising, but it's a good card in general, and especially in the VW matchup, which is by far the worst matchup you can have. It can banish the Shenshen, or with Slurlask you always have an opponent's bird to banish, like to stop his next turn battle. If it's like a Wagtail or a Cobalt Spider Engrave, it can be very useful. But like the flip effect, it's very nice, especially with Meltdown, so I think it's nice to have, but also usually a pop banish. And the Poker Trio with the Mystic Mine often results in an OTK, and it's nice to have the versatility. The Titanic Clot, also an ancient requirement for the basic Dogmatica plays. Omega is pretty new. I used to try out things like a second window over it to have 4 shadows, but the Omega is very important now to play with Nadir, having the ability to shuffle back the opponent's Enforcer monsters and get back the advantage in the game. So I never made it with the Gamma. That's very non-realistic to ever resolve, but it's very important as just a Dogmatica target. Then the Werte, be able to send Fusion Destiny. Almirage and Secure Gardener. Some people like to play Artemis in the Invoke deck, but if you play Maximus, you have to play Almirage to get a monster engrave, and it's Almirage is a fire for Poker Trio. So, what else can I say? I was very satisfied with the deck, although I bricked in top cut a lot. It would still be the deck that I would choose again, and I really liked it.
Okay, thanks for all your infos, and thanks for coming here. So remember to follow his team on his social medias, or link in the description, and let's go to the last decklist of the day. And as last one, we have a Charly Engel's 3 Brigade Lyrlus decklist. So shout out to his team in games. All the links are gonna be in the description. And so, Charly, tell us everything about your deck.
Hi, so my name is Arikado. You might know me as Astral. I played the bird deck again for this LCS. I also played it in the last LCS, and I won it. So I just figured, why not go again? And we also won this one. So yeah, I'll just start right away with my deck list. My main deck is clean 40 cards. I played the 3 Turquoise Warbler, 3 Cobalt Sparrows, 3 Barrack Canary, 3 Celestine Wagtail, and 2 Sapphires. So essentially, Warbler is the starter of this deck. You want to always draw this card, so you played it 3, obviously. Then we have the 3 Cobalt Sparrow and the 3 Celestine Wagtail. They kind of generate advantage in your deck. They let you like combo and give you some searches. I played 3 Wagtail because I think it's correct and it plays around hand traps really well. Also because I played Desires and I didn't want to banish all of my Wagtails ever. Because a lot of people only play like 2 Wagtails, but I think 3 is pretty fine. And then I also played 3 Canaries. This card's really amazing. It's like a 1-card Xyz, so I've just played 3 of it. It's really good. Like a 1-card Xyz going second, does a lot. So yeah, pretty nice. And then the only bird that I played at 2 was Sapphire Swallow, because this card actually doesn't really do anything on its own. So I just played 2 of it, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it kind of hurts when you banish it with Desires, but it's still fine. Like, it's still playable. So yeah, and then I've just played like the 3 bird calls for the last part of the bird engine. That card's just absolutely amazing. There's not really much to say about it. It's just Rhoda. Like even better Rhoda because it summons 1 from hand. So definite free off. And then I also played 1 for 1 just for a bit more consistency. Just a pretty good card overall.
What about Small World?
Oh, yeah, so basically, in my last deck profile, I showed off the small word in this deck, featuring Dinotherium, because it's able to, like, kind of add you anything from your deck. Like, if you, for example, have a Fractal, it gets you to Warbler via the Dinotherium. But I only played that card as a substitute for Desires, because if you play Desires, you can't really main Oath, but I was maining Oath at that time because like board breaker cards were pretty relevant and everyone played them, so you kind of had to play Oath. So at that time I played Small Wood, which was really good for its time, but since I'm not maining the Oath anymore, I am not maining Small Wood anymore because Desires is the better card. Like Desires goes +1 while Small Wood just goes -1. It's just better overall.
Yeah, definitely a big difference. And as we saw in the other deck list, all of the guys here just went for having from 9 to 6 entrops in medium, plus the droplet, which is also very subtle and not playing really board breaker cards, but more like entrop control based strategy. Let's say this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so moving on, we have the Tri-Brigade part of the deck. This card, like this part of the deck, helps you a lot with like ending on a better end board, since stuff like Simorgh or DDL are really, really good interruptions. So I played 3 Fractals. This card's a starter, like it's super amazing. 3 Nervals. I just wanted to max out on Nervals because it's your main way of like accessing the Tri-Brigades, because you can add Nerval with your Pixies or your Cobalt. Then I played 1 Kit and 1 Karas. If you don't main Oath, you don't have to main the Kit, but I still mained it because it kind of gives you a lot of versatility. And the Karas is just really good. So, like, since I play Desires, it obviously sometimes happens that I banish either Kit or Karas. Which Karas can definitely hurt if you banish it. It mainly hurts going second because, like, Karas helps you to play around stuff. Going first, it usually never really matters. But like, technically, if you go second and you banish your Karas of Desires, it can hurt a lot, but it usually is fine. And then I just played the Tanky. More Fractals. Card's amazing. Yeah. That's like kind of it for the Tri-Brigade part of the deck. Then I played 3 Desires. As I already explained, I think Desires is really good. Just gives you 2 more cards to play with. Really amazing. And then I also played the Apex Avian.
Do you like the statue?
The statue. So I think that Apex Avian is better than the statue because Apex Avian can negate stuff like a Nadir Servant or a Mystic Mine, since you don't actually have any Omni negates if you don't play the Apex Avian. And I feel like passing on the board without a single Omni negate is kind of weird. So I personally don't think the statue is that good, since you also already end on so many bounces with Robin and DDL. So like your opponent is basically never playing the game anyways through like monsters cards. So I think just having an Omni negate there is pretty good. Yeah. And then, well, moving on, I have the going second cards for my deck list. I played 3 Imperm, 3 Droplets, and 3 Drawn Lockbirds. Yeah, we kind of had like the same theory on Imperm, being a really good card in the mirror match and also being really good against Invoked, because if I negate the Maximus and they can't get to Winda, I don't really care about the mecha by that much. I just often win through it, so Imperm is really nice. Droplet also like a really versatile card. Since many people dropped Oath, if you draw it in the mirror match, you're pretty fine. Like you can break their board a lot of times. It's also really good against Invoked and PK2. And then we have Drawn Lockbird. I mean, yeah, it's just really good against Invoked and Birds mainly. It can come up against like some Rogue matchups, but mainly against those decks, it just kills them. Yeah, that's it for the main deck. And then moving on to the extra deck, I played the Zeus package of Zeus and Downerd. This is pretty standard. There's not a lot of explaining to do there. Some people don't play Downerd, but I think Downerd is really important to play. Yeah, I mean, I think you should just play it because you can't always like overlay 3 level 1s to get like a Zeus for 2. So this slot is definitely really good. Then I played Nightingale, Robin, that's pretty standard. Double Recital, a lot of people play 3, but I could only fit 2 since I played Double Shurake. I think 2 Recital is fine. You can definitely play 3 though if you want to. Then I had the F-Zero package. Those are just really good, pretty standard in this deck list. They help you like play through hand traps when you combo. Then Almirage, it helps you in like some weird hands if you have to start with like a normal summon Nerval or Kit. So you should definitely play it. And also its effect kind of plays around TPE, I suppose. Then I have the Double Lord, Double Dragon Lords. I mean, it's a pretty good interruption, I'd say, pretty easy to make. This also is like your main way of outing Tikabu if you play against something like Outledge, which I did like 3 times. So this card was like really good. 1 Fairy Cheat, I wanted to play 2. No space for it though, so only 1. This card's really good though. Simorgh, this card's absolutely broken. It won me games like almost on its own. This card's absolutely amazing. Double Shurake, as I already said, I played 2 of this card. I think 2 is a really good ratio since it pushes a lot against stuff like trap decks, and it combos really well with the Simorgh, since if you like play against trap decks, you can establish Simorgh plus Omen, and then in their end phase, summon off of Simorgh, and then Omen will trigger banishing a card, so it's really good. And then I just played the Apollo for the last extra deck cards. Apollo was pretty good. You need it whenever you start like a Tri-Brigade. For example, you start like a Fractal, you loop it through, you normal summon it, banish 2 to summon Farrajet, and then you summon a bird from your hand. But if you like go for now, you get like you really lose to Nibiru. So ideally you want to go Appaloosa there, so it comes up a lot of times there. Also what's really cool about this card is you can actually push it up with Recital, so you can have like more negates than you would usually have. So it's pretty good. Yeah. And then going over the side deck, I played 3 Harpies Featherstorm. This card is absolutely broken. Every time that I drew it, I won. Shockers. I only drew it like 2 times though, but I mean, it's as I thought. I think it should be played. It's really good. Then I actually sided the Oath. It's just like a 1 card inside deck, which I think is really good to play because while people don't main the board breakers anymore, a lot of people still side them. They still side Mystic Mine, stuff like that, and Oath just helps you break that. So I think it's really justified to just take the 1 extra deck slot and play Oath. Then 3 Twin Twisters, some back row hate, pretty standard. I mean, I didn't expect as many trap decks as I faced. I faced like 3 Outledge players. So I would have loved to have a bit more back row removal. But since this meta is like really combo heavy, you can't really play more than 3. So yeah, I just decided on Twin Twisters because I think the card's really nice in this deck. Yeah, I mean, the card was really good though. I liked it a lot. 3 Nibs. I think Nib is just easily the best hand trap if you open like an Imperm or a Gamma with it, since it pretty much like breaks any combo. Your opponent is always going to pass on like a Nib token if you have like Nib Imperm or Nib Gamma. It's just the strongest combo in the game of hand traps. Then here I have 3 Gamma, obviously, to kind of combo with the Nib, and also Gamma is just a really good hand trap on its own. The 1 Driver Brick, and then 1 DD Crow, which I actually didn't main deck because I think that if you main deck it, I think your hand needs to be really, really good if you want to end on DD Crow. Because a lot of times, if you just like add DD Crow and you combo on and you get interrupted, you're gonna look really bad because like eventually you're gonna have to like Farrajet summon out your DD Crow to like extend, which is so bad. So I didn't main it. I don't think it's good in the main deck. I sided it though. I think it's fine in the side deck because I only played against stuff like the Mirror Match or like PKs, and I guess I did put it in against Outledge. I don't play it against that many decks because I don't think it's that great against that many decks. I think this deck also handles DPE quite well, so you don't really have to play DD Crow against every deck that plays DPE, because you can like Zeus send the DPE, or if you establish an F-Zero, the DPE doesn't really matter anymore. So yeah, I just added it. I think it was pretty good.
Speaking about DPE, Try Brigade often is in particular in those moments after the YCS is getting played a little more with the version with 3 DPE without the Lyrillus, because I see a lot of people saying that this deck bricks so much, and a pure version with just DPE allows you to play more cards like hand traps and other stuff like that. What do you think about this 2 version of Tri Brigade?
I mean, I think the Tri-Brigade deck with DPE is fine. I don't think it's better than Lyrillus Tri-Brigade at all. I think the bird deck is just way more versatile. It is way better going second. It breaks a lot of boards. And I personally don't think it breaks that much. I mean, you can't play that many going second cards as the pure Tri-Brigade deck does, I suppose. But I think its engine is just better, and I think you are supposed to play birds. But the DPE Tri-Brigade deck is fine. It's not bad. It's good.
Okay, thanks for all your information in your decklist, and for today is over. So thanks you all for coming today for your decklist and everything. Remember to follow Iman and 100% team on their social medias in the description down below. And I want to thank our sponsor GRAAD, SCROLLANDLOCK Gaming, Playmat per Tutti, and EXTIMATE-CARDS for the support we received. And for today is everything. So thank you guys for seeing the video. Drop a like, leave a comment, and see you the next time. Stay plus, stay purple.